Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I am having a look through my collection of animal themed tarot decks because I actually bought, very recently I bought a new one, and I kind of questioned myself afterwards thinking, do I really need yet another animal deck? I knew I had a few but I wasn't sure how many, so I pulled them all out. And I thought it'll make an interesting, I guess, visual journey through the ones that I have. There's a couple that are out of print now, and there's some quirky ones, and there's indie, and there's mainstream, so we've got a bit of everything in here. So to start off with, now I should say, sorry about the lighting. We have no power today, so it is what it is. We'll make it work. So if the images don't come through as well as I would hope, that's probably why. So yeah, the first one is the Fantastic Menagerie from Baba Studio. I have here I think this is the second edition. I think they've only got 2 editions of this one. I do have the first edition, but I've got it in a box somewhere, so I'm not going to bring that out. But the second edition is really, really nice. And I'm pulling this one because the first edition of the Fantastic Menagerie is the very first animal tarot deck that I purchased. So I'll move this out of the way a bit so that the dappling sunlight doesn't obstruct the view. But yeah, I really liked what they did with this deck. I like the idea behind it, and I think that they matched the cards really well to like their equivalent tarot meanings. It's a very, very readable deck. You can read with this deck really well because of that. Because, these are based on human characters of the time. And since human traits haven't changed that much in the few hundred years since these images were first published, it reads really well, basically, is what I'm trying to say, because it's relatable. It's very, very relatable. So I really, really like this deck, and I do read with it fairly often. I tend to use this edition more because of the cardstock. It's a bit better, and because I don't want to put too much wear and tear on the very first edition that I have. Now and then I'll bring that out for kind of like nostalgia, and just because it makes a really lovely reading deck. But price aside, because the second edition, the prices certainly have jumped on their decks, and I'm not criticizing them for it, because I know that they're very genuine and authentic in terms of the amount of time and effort that they put into creating a quality deck. But, it's not something that everyone can afford, and secondhand, these decks command high prices too. So anyway, so this is the Fantastic Menagerie from Baba Studio, and certainly I would recommend this as a reading deck. Okay, so next up is another early animal deck that I got, and this one is actually one of my all-time favorites, and for a while it seemed to be everybody's favorite. Yes, it's the Wild Unknown by Kim Krans. I think this is a fantastic deck. I honestly I've got the second edition indie, and I think it's important to note that, as far as I know, the cardstock for the indie deck is apparently, I can't confirm firsthand, but apparently the cardstock is far better than the mainstream, because this did go mainstream. I love the cardstock on this. It's like very, very matte, very kind of like a buttery. It's not plasticky, which is kind of like what I like in a deck when I come to work with it and to feel it when I shuffle it. So I think this is still a fantastic deck. I don't have any criticisms of it per se. I think for some reason some people really didn't bond with it, which is fine. You don't bond with every single deck you get, but I think she's done a fantastic job, and I love the artwork. So much so I ended up buying some of her kids' books. She's got some beautiful children's books that are really, really gorgeous, and I got them for my daughter, and they're fantastic. So anyway, now this deck, the minor arcana is pips, so, well, mostly, not entirely, actually, I shouldn't say that. So it's not a deck that I would recommend for beginners because of that, but nonetheless, Kim Krantz has done a fantastic job in including symbols and the choice of color to illustrate the general energy behind the card. And I think she's done so beautifully. It's the Five of Swords. The core cards are absolutely stunning. And I, again, think that this is a very readable deck. You can read with this deck, but it's not one that I use with clients very often. I have done so on the odd occasion, and it's worked fine, but I think, I don't know, you gotta be in the right frame of mind for it, I think. But I mean, there's so much, you can get so much from a card. Like, for example, this is the Seven of Swords here, and now you have to put aside what you know about the Rider-Waite-Smith, and you've got to look at the image, because one of the meanings from the Seven of Swords is actually one of learning and having, and using your mind, deciphering something, figuring something out. And here's this fox, and they're very well known for being very cunning and crafty creatures. They're very, very smart. So I think that ties in with the Seven of Swords really, really well. I love that. He's got that one eye open, like you think it's asleep, but it's not. It's always knows what's going on. So yes, there's a lot of information that you can extract from a card, but you do have to spend some time with it. It doesn't come as quick as with, say, a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Again, the Five of Cups, look at this. The sadness is palpable with this horse, and it's just so beautifully done. I just think this is one of my favorite animal-themed decks, absolutely. No doubt about it. And so you can tell, like, for example, the 10 of Cups and the 10 of Wands, I think. Sometimes it's not so easy to tell, but straight away the color pops out. There's the rainbow there, and we think of rainbows, we think of happiness and good luck and good fortune and just a really good feeling from a really good omen. And I kind of get that from the color choice here, and from the way the cups are arranged and the way that everything sort of flows from one to the other. So you can draw a lot of meaning from that, whereas with this one there isn't that much, and it's that kind of more heavy monochromatic feel about it. So certainly a very, very readable deck, and yeah, I can't rate it enough, honestly. I think I would love to see more of this deck out there being worked with. What else can I say? You can pick it up for a very reasonable price still, because it did go mainstream, but I can't vouch for the cardstock, so you might want to research that. So that's the Wild Unknown by Kim Krantz. Next up, I have a somewhat obscure and little known deck called New Zealand Naturally. Now, this was sent to me by a friend. We became friends during the time when I studied tarot, and unfortunately we sort of lost track of each other. I have no idea what she's up to. I hope you're well if you're watching this. But it is a gorgeous, gorgeous little deck, and it is little because, It's kind of like a mini deck. And yes, it is based on New Zealand animals. It's created by Angela Lemur-Cat Oliver. And it comes in a standard little box. And the instructions, it does have instructions, but they are in this, like fold out. So it's not like a booklet per se. All right. I do think that the images and the animals and the meaning behind were chosen really, really well. But it's not a deck that I've used a lot, to be honest. I'm kind of keeping it more for a sentimental value and also because it's rare. These are the card backs. Again, I apologize for the lighting. It is what it is. I think you should be able to see the cards well enough though. So, hand-drawn. I love that about it. I'm a fan of hand-drawn decks. I'm not sure when this was published. Hang on, let me have a look and see. It doesn't say. 1 second. Quite some time ago. No, there's nothing in here. Unfortunately. But I'd say this is well over a decade ago. Probably closer to 2 decades. So I haven't worked with this a lot, to be honest, so I can't give you a definitive, as to how this deck reads. It's very, very rare that I pull it out. Like I said, it's more of a sentimental deck. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy. It's when I feel a bit nostalgic and homesick for New Zealand, which was my second home for about 20 years, something like that. And I still love dearly. And yeah, I kind of just use it as like a bit of a soothing deck. But I haven't seen this anywhere else. I'm not sure how many of these were printed. I don't know, how many there are still out there or whether you can even get it. I would say that it's out of print, but I could be wrong. So anyway, one thing I will say that it's a bit difficult. You've got to actually remember the different suits and what they are because it doesn't have the actual type of suit, but the borders will give you an indication. So the borders are like brown for coins and blue for air and so on and so forth. So that's like 2 of Swords, for example. Okay, so this is the New Zealand Naturally deck created by Angela Lemur-Cat Oliver, and I think it's a really lovely little deck. I kind of wish that I worked with it more, but it holds a special place in my tarot collection, and I'll be keeping this one for the foreseeable future. And now onto something totally weird and appropriately named, the appropriately named Weird Cat Tarot. So this just is basically focusing on one animal, a cat. And yes, I love cats. And I bought this because I absolutely love the concept behind it. I love, I'm not normally a person that goes for this type of art, but I kind of like it at the same time. It's just kind of bold and bright and So this was created by Gabrielle Cash, and one thing that drew me straight away to it, check this out. Oh, check out that insane gilding. The color on the edging is this super bright pink, and I love that about it. So what can I say about this? It's a bit oddball, okay? The Hermit, yep. Let me move that out of the way. So it just features basically a cat, and sometimes she has some companions, like in the Chariot. you know, riding on a spider. I love that. I think it's really, really well done. And I don't know why I don't read with it more. I do love it. I do love it. Like I said, it's not my type of art, but I think for the type of art that it is, it's done super well, okay? And just something unique, you know, it is very unique. I love the strawberries. So yes, it is a deck you can read with. It's based on the Rider-Waite-Smith, and it does attempt to follow that fairly well. You know, I think this is just one of those decks that you either like or you don't like, basically. I'm not really sure what else to kind of say about it. I like that she's used the black background to make the color and the images really pop out. That's done really, really well. Here's another Seven of Swords. That's done super well. You know, a dog in a cat costume. Really good interpretation of the meaning for that. Queen of Wands, Ten of Swords. Yeah, I could sit here and go through this deck the whole day, but you get the idea. It's got a particular color theme and a particular artistic flair. Yes, it's a reading deck, and I'm keeping this one. I'm keeping it, I think, just if only for the bright edging it just brightens up the day. You know, I pull it out, and it just really puts a smile on my face, basically. And I also like the box. I mean, so many tarot decks still come in terrible boxes, but I think these magnetic clip ones do the job really well. You know, nothing slides in or out when you pick it up, and it's solid. Okay, so that was The Weird Cat by Gabrielle Cash. Next up, let's look at another single animal deck, and this is Tarot Renard by Celia Melisville, a French artist. And this was a Kickstarter edition, so yeah, it comes with a few things in here, information and about the major arcana and the minor arcana, and extra card, a booklet. I've got everything upside down, but there's a booklet, and then we get into the cards. My only critique of this deck is I kind of feel like there's quite a lot of white, space, and I don't know, I kind of feel like I would have preferred the image to take up the whole card, I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, it's not bad, and it's a lovely, lovely little deck. So you've got the number and then the symbol, like that's the Two of Wands, for example, and it's all based on a fox. I love foxes. Even though here in Australia they're just a terrible, terrible pest. I worked in the environmental field. I still do, actually, do a bit of part-time work in the environmental field, and have seen firsthand the devastation that a fox will wreak on turtle nests in the sand. Like, they'll dig them up and they'll break all the eggs and eat all of them. Like, nothing will be left. So anyway, but that aside, I do love foxes. I just love that they're so ingenious and crafty and smart. You know, they're like one of the smartest animals. And I love this deck because, yes, it is hand-drawn. I love that it keeps with the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like, that's the Eight of Pentacles. Very, very Rider-Waite-Smith, right? So it keeps in with that tradition, and it's true to it. love the color choices, and I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. I'm really, really glad I obtained this. Like with all the indie decks that I obtained from Europe and other parts of the world, back when shipping was still reasonable. Now it's anything but reasonable. Yeah, let's not go there. So anyway, I love this because also it does remind me a lot of my childhood books, and so many of which are based on animal stories and fables and things like that. And yeah, I think the happiest part of my childhood was just being surrounded by books, which my grandparents had lots of, and I'm forever grateful for that. So yeah, I really, really love this deck. Another comfort deck for me, right? When I feel like I need a bit of comfort in life, I basically pull a deck like this one out and work with it, and it's just so lovely. So, so lovely. Yeah, I think this is still an indie deck. I do think you can probably find it around if you have a look for it, but I think the price and the shipping, especially here to Australia, will be quite exorbitant. So anyhow, so that is Terra Renard by Celia Mellisville. So I do have another cat deck. I only have two. That's plenty. This is the mini Bohemian Cats from Baba Studio. I had the large size one, but I sold it because I wasn't using it very much, and yeah, I kind of feel like it was time for it to go to someone that would appreciate it, so I sold that one. This is the mini, as you can tell, very, very small, absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I do think that it's an excellent deck. It's got like the way that they're made is impeccable. All right, Baba Studio really do impeccable design, right down to having people that make the clothes that their props wear in line with the time period. So those are people that, like, I think they've got someone that is actually trained and has studied how to make clothes from, I'm not sure what century this would be, but I don't know whether it's, 14th, 15th, 16th. I'm not very good with my historical knowledge in that sense. But anyway, really, really well-made deck, and very, very easy to work with and easy to read. 10 of Wands, so Rider-Waite Smith based. Yeah, and keeps to that tradition really well. So I think this is an excellent reading deck, and I'm glad I kept the mini version. I much prefer smaller decks because I don't have big hands and they're easy to carry and shuffle and work with. So anyhow, so this is the Bohemian Cats, Bohemian Cats mini edition from Baba Studio. They are doing another cat-based deck similar to this, but it's like they're doing it from scratch, so it's not going to be this edition, like, a third edition or anything like that. I think it's like one that they're working and creating from scratch, and they're in the process of doing that at the moment. Okay, next up I have, okay, so another weird, okay, so this is actually the third cat deck. Well, it's not really a cat deck, it's kind of like the cat people, and I wasn't sure whether to include this one in it or not because it's kind of like a people deck, but they kind of look like cats, but it's like a very obscure deck you don't see much of, and it's out of print and hard to find, and I kind of went, you know what, I'm going to include this in this collection, so here we go. Let's have some tea. Okay, so it comes in the good, packs. This is a US Games. This was published in 1985 and 1992 again. So it's been around for a long time. You've got a booklet in there, and then the deck slides out like so. Now this is an example of terrible packaging. These kind of boxes are absolutely atrocious because you've got like styrofoam inside, these things. I can't stand it. And it's not the only one, there's another piece in there, and they fall out, and it's hard to get the cards in, and anyway, I could go on and on. I could rant about it all day long, but so this was created by Karen Kuykendall. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Very kind of interesting and strange, and at the same time, great cardstock, the good old cardstock from US Games, sublime to shuffle and work with. So yeah, this basically does feature people, but they're kind of cat-like in their features. And it is called Tarot of the Cat People, and that's the card backs. And so, yes, people and cats in very eclectic dress. And if you've ever seen like those Facebook groups where they show fashion from the 70s, 60s and 70s, this reminds me very much of that. I mean, it was published in, what was it? What did I say? It was 70, excuse me. Oh no, 85. 85 was the first edition, but this very much reminds me kind of like 70s attire in some ways. Yeah, so we've got, I don't know what to make of these people. I mean, they're called the cat people, but I don't know, are they people who love cats? Is that why they're called cat people, or are they because they've got quite feline kind of features, or is it just me? Am I reading too much into it? I don't know. I love it, whatever it is. This deck is just, it's so well made. Based on Rider-Waite-Smith. Not that easy to decipher in some cards though. But you can still see the, the Rider-Waite-Smith coming through. Yeah, what can I say about this? Other than I love it for just how strange it is. There's a plane overhead. I don't know if you can hear that. I think it's really well done. I think that artistically it's brilliant. The color choices are fantastic. I do feel like I'm in the 70s, honestly, with this deck. It's got a bit of that opulence that was shining through in the 80s, the bling, but for some reason I feel like this is very much in the 70s. Yeah, I love everything about it. And so we do have cats featuring pretty much on every single card, or some sort of feline. I think some of them also have tigers or panthers and things like that. I wouldn't recommend this for beginners. I mean, you wouldn't find this deck very easily, I don't think. I think it's long out of print and not that easy to source. So if you do come across somebody selling it, and I mean, you like what you see here, at a reasonable price, I recommend you get it, because they don't, I haven't seen this for sale secondhand very often. Now and then it does come up, but it's not common. Yeah, very, very interesting deck. I might do a review on it one day and have a look at all the cards, because I think it merits that. It's got merit. So that's Tarot of the Cat People. Unfortunately, yeah, the box really irritates me. I don't like it, but it is what it is. Speaking of boxes that I don't like, here's another one. the Spirit Animal Tarot. So, let me move this back. Now, I love this deck. I'll explain why. Can't stand the box. This is a mainstream publication. It was printed not that long ago. Now, this was printed under a different name initially. So the box, let me show you what I mean. That comes off. And then, can you see, you kind of have to split the deck into two to fit it in here. Hang on. Right. And then because of that, because you can't split it exactly unless you sit there and count every card to make sure you divide it equally into two, some of the cards will, get shuffled around and moved around, and they're not nicely tucked in, and I really, it's just not appealing. It's not practical. So let me get this out, because box aside, it's a fantastic deck. So, what does it say? Hang on, bear with me for a second, sorry. I haven't done my homework before doing this. So this edition was published in 2020, and it was first published in 2013 as the Animal Wisdom Tarot. The reason I think this is an excellent deck, aside from the fact that it's hand-drawn, I mean, it's got some digital enhancement, I think, but it is hand-drawn, so it is illustrated by Ola Liola, and the deck is the concept of Dawn Brunk. The reason I think this is an excellent deck is because the animals that they've chosen, so each card features a different animal. The animals they've chosen are really well suited with the particular message for that tarot card. Okay, in other words, it aligns with the Rider-Waite-Smith and meaning really, really well. Unfortunately, the box design and the cardstock lack much to be desired. So the cardstock is it's got that heavy laminate plasticky coating, and also it doesn't shuffle very easily. It doesn't fan out very easily. Like it doesn't have a smooth fan type experience. I don't know how to describe it, but you know what I mean. Which is a real shame, because I think that this is a great reading deck when it comes to, like animal decks. So yeah, pentacles are called shells. Pentacles are fossils and cups are shells. Yeah. That's the other thing, is that she's renamed the suits, so it takes a while to get used to. But, those things aside, I think when you look at the reason why the particular animal was chosen, if it's not obvious, and when you read about it in the accompanying book, it makes so much sense. So I think that the creator and the artist have done a really good job with this deck. I think the design of the deck in terms of the box and the cardstock could have really, really been thought through a bit more and done differently, okay? Yeah, I'm not a fan of these kind of boxes where cards kind of get thrown around a bit, because they can get a bit of wear around the edges when they're not securely tucked in. Anyway, speaking of the bull, I did ask a question about my animal archetype, or like the animal that I am to learn from or that I align with, and I got the bull, which is keeper of the sacred tradition, and I really I did like that. Because we're talking about the tarot and arcane mysteries and the occult and mystery traditions and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, really a pleasant surprise getting this, because I bought the second hand and I think I only paid like, I don't know, $15 or $20 for it. It's a mainstream publication, so you can definitely get this for a reasonable price if you like what you see here. Okay, so that's the Spirit Animal Tarot by Dawn Brunk and illustrated by Ola Leola. And then let me see if I can, I'll just put half in there, and then I'll put kind of like half in there like so. Anyway, there we go. Down to the last 3 decks. So Oriens Animal Tarot was the last deck that I bought and kind of spurred this whole journey through my animal decks, wondering, you know, enough is enough. This is the pocket edition by MB Sun in a tin, and I picked this up for the grand total of $16, brand new at the Big W. I like this tin that it has a hinge. Really, really like that, because, you know, it just stays together with the box. It also has a wonderful little booklet with it. It's got enough in there in small font, but enough information on the cards. And I bought this, it was an impulse buy, I admit it. It's got some really nice gilding on the edges, and I love it. You know, like, I kind of feel like I need to trim my animal decks, but I don't know which one to let go of, because I love all of them. So this is just so beautiful. And of course, being a mini deck is suits me really well. That's the moon. I mean, they're just so beautifully created and painted. And I think she's an Australian artist. I might be wrong there, but anyway, kudos to her for creating an absolutely stunning deck. I haven't read with it very well. I mean, I haven't read with it a lot, I should say. I find that with tarot decks, I kind of tend to keep to the Wild Unknown, the Fantastic Menagerie, and the Bohemian Cats for my readings. Yeah, animal decks can be quite tricky to read with sometimes. And I kind of feel like I need to work with this deck and with the booklet and learn the cards. Because otherwise, you know, I've got the 8 of Cups, but the image doesn't really give me a lot of information. But anyway, I mean, yeah, you can tell, like, let's say the 6 of Cups, you know, the connection and a relationship with another is there. But with a lot of the other cards, it's just not as easy to interpret. At least I don't think so. But I think what I love about it is just its beauty. Okay, it is a beautiful deck. Okay, it's a work of art. Great to see the cockatoos. And yes, it does have animals from Australia, which I really, really like about that too. And anyway, a part of me kind of wished I didn't get it, but I'm glad I did. And the only reason I wish I didn't get it is because I have so many animal-themed decks. All right, second to last, we've got the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. This is the indie edition. I was very, very lucky to obtain this from Kickstarter when it first came out. I have nothing but praise for this deck. It ticks all the boxes for me. The artwork is stunning. It aligns with the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition really well. And third, and often overlooked by many decks, it is ethically printed and designed. Like the whole concept, I feel, was done with Mother Earth in mind. Non-toxic dyes and inks and local publisher. And yes, that meant that it was pricey to obtain. That's okay. When I say that's okay, what I'm saying is I am happy to pay an extra $10 or $20 for that, to get something that is ethically created. I don't really know what to say about this other than that it is a work of art. And the artwork was created by Adam Ohlers. Just stunning. And this also takes me back to my childhood memories of childhood books. Oh, just so, I mean, look at that. Doesn't that just capture all the magic of childhood and the way you see life? Well, for me, it does anyway. I watched someone else make this point, and I can't remember the channel name. I'm really sorry. I will actually link that video below, because she also went through her animal decks, and I was talking about this exact same point. How these animal theme decks just they're like such a reminder of childhood books and that coziness and comfort of, you know, losing yourself in a book. That has all these stories about animals and their lives and what's happening. And I see that in my daughter, like her imagination is just explosive. I mean, it's just, wow, I'm blown away. And I'm doing my best to foster that. And with both of my children, I just buy them books for it. Like we get a package of books, I think, right now, every second week. Yeah, I think that this is just so beautifully illustrated. So, yeah, a deck that reads really well. I read with this often, not so much for others. I'm quite possessive of this deck. It's like my reading deck, and not to say I'm not going to read for other people, but I just prefer to have it to myself. And I used to have a spare copy. I loved it that much, and I sold it, and I regret selling it, because it was like an indie edition Kickstarter spare copy that I kind of feel like I should have kept it for my daughter. But anyway, yeah, it is what it is. So this is the Oak, Ash and Thorn Kickstarter edition. And last but not least, we have the Foragers Daughter Tarot. This is kind of like my shamanic deck. This is the Afterlight edition, hardbacks. So yeah, I call on this deck and I work with it when I am in a particular energy where I work with elementals, or just with the energies of Mother Nature. It just carries that energy for me, okay? There's lots of... so it features exclusively animals, and they're very, very well, again, well chosen in their meaning to align with the Rider-Waite-Smith system. We also have herbs and plants and mushrooms. So we have the plant kingdom too. We also have stones and rocks and crystals and skulls. To me, this deck is kind of like the deck, if you picture somebody going out into the wilderness to sit with that energy comfortably, to work with it, to listen to the trees and the streams and the creeks, and cast their runes or cards, to commune with plant spirits, yeah, it's a really kind of like old primordial energy of our relationship with place, with geography, with plants and animals. That's the purpose that this deck serves for me. And so I kind of read sparsely with this deck because it's not often, I mean, I wouldn't ask it mundane questions. I wouldn't ask it, will I get this job, or I don't know. Will my car get fixed, or day to day, everyday questions. That's not the deck for that for me. All right, this deck is kind of like not about everyday affairs. This deck is about my relationship with spirit, the Great Spirit, my relationship with the land that I live on, the plants and the rocks and everything that carries energy, which is everything really in the natural world. But it's kind of like that untamed wild place kind of deck. That's just how I use this deck, and I guess how I feel about it. So that concludes it. So I think that's 11 decks in total that are like all, like there's no people in them. It's just images of animals. And I would love to trim that down to half, but I just really don't know what to let go of. Because the decks that I don't use very often, like the cat people, the Naturally New Zealand, the Weird Cat, there are decks that are either out of print or indie, and that have some sort of special place in my heart, and I know that if I let them go, I won't get them back again. Now without forking out a whole lot of money, and I'm just not prepared to do that at this stage, so I'm keeping them. So I think I'm going to keep all of these decks. I don't know, I might let go of the Oriens Animal Tarot, but it's so beautiful though. Anyway, I think I'll have that debate with myself off camera. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel. And until my next video, take care.